Welcome learners, it's a new day to learn. I am Mom Princess and I'm so excited to teach and share new lessons to you. So better prepare yourself to listen and to learn. We will discuss about the oral communication. What are the different communication barriers and how these communication barriers cause communication breakdowns? Let's figure it out today. But before we start to our formal discussion, let me ask you a question. Do you still remember the meaning of communication?
So now, let's define what is the meaning of communication. Communication is a process that involves sending and receiving messages through the verbal and non-verbal methods. Communication is a two-way means of communicating information in the form of thoughts, opinions, and ideas between two or more individuals with the purpose of building an understanding.
That's great! It's good that you still remember the meaning of communication. It's a good foundation for our discussion for today. So, let's discuss the 4 categories of communication barriers. And it's very important that we recognize those barriers because it will help us to avoid communication breakdowns. Moreover, it will be discussed by my co-teachers. So better prepare yourself to listen and to learn.
Good day everyone, I am Ma'am Kim and I will discuss the first communication barrier. In communication, we have what we call physical barriers. These are natural or environmental that act as barriers in communication. Like for example, talking so loud, noise from construction sites, and radio playing. Because of these barriers, you probably had difficulties in listening to the person you're talking with. You will not able to clearly understand what have been the person said, and that is why physical barriers cause communication breakdown.
Good day everyone, I am Ma'am Darlene and I will discuss the second barrier. But before that, try to observe first the video clip. What do you think is the barrier shown in the video? Okay, very good. The girl is shy to speak in front and she can make eye contact. So this is an example of psychological barrier. Psychological barrier is a mental barrier such as fear to social and personal issues of a speaker towards communicating with others. This may be due to shyness, stress, anxiety, and lack of confidence. This strong emotion may hinder an individual to effectively communicate with others.
I am Sir Christian. In this part of this video, I will discuss the third barrier to communication, and that is cultural barrier. These are the common problems we encountered by people due to their own personal values, beliefs, and tradition, which are in conflict with others. They may have different races, religion, age, gender, and more. But, just a reminder, what is true to you may not be true to me and to others. Due to that, it may negatively affect the way they communicate and relate with each other.
Today, I am Ma'am Tin and I will discuss the fourth and one last barriers to communication. The linguistic barriers. This pertain to conflict in language and word meaning. Words and delivery statement have different meanings, especially in different places. Hence, they may cause confusion and misunderstanding among communication. Differences in language are barriers. Dias, bonjour, good morning, magandang umaga. Those mean one thing, but yet if you don't know these languages, we will not be able to understand and respond correctly.
Good day everyone, I am Sir Russell. In 1991, Vandenberg gave the similar idea of barriers communication and classified noise into 3 kinds: external, internal, and somatic noise. External noise: slight sound and other stimuli that draws people's attention away from intended meaning. To make this simple, internal noise are the physical barrier. Internal noise: these are the thoughts and feelings that interface with meaning. In other hands are psychological barrier and cultural barriers are words or phrases of statement that may have other meaning in mind of the receiver. This may be due to incorrect grammar or use of idiomatic expression. It may be because of misunderstanding among communicators, such like as linguistic barrier.
Now, it's time for activity. You are going to identify the kind of communication barrier exemplified by each description. But before we start, let's recall the different communication barriers: physical, psychological, cultural, and linguistic. Are you ready? Let's start! Number 1. Lack of confidence. Number 2. Connotative and denotative meaning. Number 3. Loud party. Number 4. Different races. Number 5. Poor lighting. Number 6. Lack of interest and attention. Number 7. Different views and opinions. Number 8. Using idiomatic expression. Number 9. Information overload. Number 10. Feeling frustrated. Are you done? It's so, let's check it one by one. Number 1. Lack of confidence. This is psychological barriers. This is caused by a person's fear of committing mistakes rooting from one's emotions. Number 2. Connotative and denotative meaning. This is a linguistic barrier. Connotation and denotation should be used in accordance to the context of a statement. If it's not used correctly, the meaning of a statement might be interpreted differently. Number 3. Loud party. This is physical barrier. It's an environmental condition that produces noise which may disrupt the successful flow of communication process. Number 4. Different races. This is cultural barrier. Different races have different beliefs and traditions, which may cause misunderstanding among communicators that can lead to a communication breakdown. Number 5. Poor lighting. This is physical barrier. Poor lighting as an environmental condition may cause communication breakdown due to the lack of the communicator's ability to see one another clearly. Number 6. Lack of interest and attention. This is psychological barrier. If the receiver lack of interest and attention, the decoding process might not be achieved successfully. That can cause communication to fail. Number 7. Different views and opinions. This is cultural barrier. If the communicators do not share a mutual views and opinions, the tendency is that they might push their own ideas and fail to listen and understand each other. Number 8. Using idiomatic expressions. This is linguistic barrier. The use of idiomatic expressions may cause communication breakdown, or it is not certain that the receivers are familiar with the idioms to be used. Number 9. Information overload. This is psychological barrier. Interest and attention are based on a person's mental preference. And number 10. Feeling frustrated. This is psychological barrier. Frustration is a strong emotion that may affect a person's patience in listening and understanding others. Were you able to get all the answers? That's great! Let's have another activity. There are situations provided and you are going to explain why there is communication breakdown on the given situations. Number 1. Alan was chosen to give a speech in their graduation. He was using a microphone to present. However, at certain points of his speech, the microphone kept creating a loud ringing sound and Alan was unable to hear what he was saying. Number 2. Mark kept avoiding taking risks or pursuing new opportunities due to the fear of failing, such as not applying for a job because of the fear of rejection. Number 3. You spent the night thinking about your academic requirements, deadlines in the upcoming week. You are frustrated if how are you going to accomplish and submit all of those before deadline. And lastly, number 4, in some countries eye contact is important. whereas in some, it is rude and disrespect. Are you done? It's so, let's check it one by one. Number 1. Alan was chosen to give a speech in their graduation. He was using a microphone to present. However, at certain points of his speech, the microphone kept creating a loud ringing sound and Alan was unable to hear what he was saying. This is an example of physical barrier. The noise from the microphone interrupted the communication process. Number 2. Mark kept avoiding taking risks or pursuing new opportunities due to the fear of failing, such as not applying for a job because of the fear of rejection. This is an example of psychological barrier. Mark has the fear or failure to try, and it also shown his lack of confidence. Number 3. You spent the night thinking about your academic requirements, deadlines in the upcoming week. You are frustrated if how are you going to accomplish and submit all of those before a deadline. This is an example of psychological barrier. Frustration can cause communication breakdown. You may torture yourself into thinking, and there is a possibility that it can affect everything you do. Yet, the best way is to have a good time management in order to finish your academic works. And lastly, number 4, in some countries, eye contact is important, whereas in some, it is rude and disrespect. This is an example of cultural barrier. These principles may cause communication breakdown among communicators. Were you able to explain your own answers? That's great! And there you have it. We're finally done discussing about the communication barriers and how these communication barriers cause communication breakdowns. What a great discussion for the day, our dear learners. Thank you for listening and participation. Keep up the good work. Bye-bye!